Welcome to Be a Light with Muxiang podcast. I'm your host, Muxiang. This podcast is dedicated to spreading kindness, positivity, and amplifying the importance of human connection and authenticity. Over the years, through many platforms, organizations, I have met many inspirational individuals who have touched my life, my heart personally, and their stories, I believe, can inspire you too. Today, I have the privilege have invited my friend, my colleague, and actually, ever since I joined our organization, I have reached out to her. So it's about 4 years. Now, let's welcome my friend Jennifer Sahady.
It's such a pleasure to be here with you. It's always so nice talking with you. And today it's really nice to talk with all of your audience as well.
Thank you so much. I reached out to you, I remember about 4 years ago, was about
Mhm.
TEDx talk. And because you are one of the people who are in the organization, and also I just felt familiar and then reached out to you to share some experience. And you just appeared to be so friendly and so supportive. I almost felt like you were like a non-time friend. For our audience, they don't know you. Would you mind share a little bit about your background, who you are?
Yeah. So my name is Jennifer Sahady. I am a financial advisor. I think so much more than what I do for work. I am someone who loves being outdoors. I love meeting new people. I love traveling. I'm someone who has a very curious nature, like yourself, maybe like your audience as well. And I think that's really guided me through my career and brought me into financial advice because a lot of people focus just on the investment part of it, which is important. I think investments are the centerpiece of finance, but having curiosity and knowing what you want to achieve and knowing what's important to you is just as important. I've worked for a lot of different companies over the years. I've worked actually in a few countries as well. So I bring a diverse background to everything I do.
Yeah, actually, that's what I learned. I thought you were just in the US, and you are an expert in the US. But actually, when I was preparing for this conversation, I learned that you actually worked overseas. Would you mind share a little bit more about your multicultural, multilingual background?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I was born and raised in Massachusetts. I live there now. Most people from Massachusetts, we never ever leave, but I had the chance to study abroad when I was at university. I went to Ireland, and that was a major change in my trajectory because my thought was always to be local. It's a very Massachusetts American idea. I have everything I need right where I am. And when I went to Ireland and started to see the different way that people lived, the different approach they had to things, it made me very curious. Like I was sharing before, that curiosity was piqued. And I thought, if they do things differently and I didn't know these options exist, what other options might be out there? So I decided to try and make that part of my life going forward. And I took opportunities to work in South Korea and in Greece. And both of them were incredible experiences. I learned a lot about how other cultures see everything, obviously, food and language, but also important things to finance and financial planning of investments and retirement planning. I could see some differences in how things were run and some opportunities for people who might want to retire in another place or to work in another place because this world is huge and full of amazing opportunities.
Wow. So did you speak all the local language when you were in Greece and South Korea?
So I went to each country not knowing any of the languages. Those are not common languages. Obviously, I studied a language in school, but I studied Spanish. So I picked up some Greek when I was in Greece. I was only there for 4 months, so I have just a few casual phrases that I can quickly pick up in Greek. But I was in South Korea for 3 years, so I picked up quite a bit of Korean while I was there, which was an amazing opportunity. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's why you have the deep level of empathy and understanding of people like me, an immigrant who immigrated here and needed to have the culture assimilation and the language challenges. So yeah, I could tell you are just very compassionate and also very open. And thank you so much for sharing your background. Again, come back to why we got connected. Talk a little bit about your TEDx talk experience.
Yeah, so I should have added that in my introduction. I am a public speaker. It's something I really enjoy. I find big audiences really engaging and inspiring. And I had the opportunity to give a TED Talk a couple of years ago. It was actually 2019. It was very memorable. It was right before the world shut down. That year started off really well. And they asked me if you could speak about anything, what would you talk about? And at that time, my role was focused very specifically on retirement. And in that expertise, I realized if you want to have a good retirement, which everyone does, right? And everyone hopefully will have that time of freedom and get a chance to live out their years in dignity, that you really need to make a lot of decisions along the way as well, right? Like a good retirement is something that is built over 30 or 40 years because it will last 30 or 40 years beyond those initial planning years. And so often I realized they were the things that you wouldn't associate with retirement that actually had a big impact on retirement, including, do you get married? Do you stay married? Do you get divorced? And it was something I didn't hear anyone talking about over the first 15 years of my career. So I wanted to be someone who spoke about it, right? Connecting the fact that every decision you make, from the job you take to the partner you take or don't take, all of those things do have an impact on your total life plan, and to be very thoughtful about that and aware about it because it's important. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Finance is the foundation of especially
Everything. Yeah.
everything, like everything,
Yeah.
how we live our lives and
Yeah.
how we communicate with people, even whether you have this leisure or this freedom to enjoy something. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's very important. I remember yeah, you give the talk and then before you say I do, right? You
Yeah.
need to prepare all the things
And
in
have
consideration.
conversations.
Yeah,
Yeah, you talk
yeah,
about where do you want to live and do you want to have kids and how might you raise those kids? And just one more conversation to add into that
mhm,
beautiful relationship building, if you choose to have a partner, is how do we want to handle money, and maybe what experiences and biases and hopes and plans are we bringing to this relationship together? It's so powerful. And when I
yeah.
work with people and they bring their partner in, it is amazing how much more you can achieve and how much faster if you're both in alignment and working together towards the same goal. It's really amazing to see.
Yeah, totally. And as someone, this might be a little bit personal, but just reminded me of sharing as when my husband and I met, and before we got married, we actually had to, yeah, sign the contract.
A
So
prenuptial agreement.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
they're becoming
so
more common.
so that way he doesn't need to feel like I'm going to cheat
Yeah,
for green card or for citizenship. And so that way we just feel more free. And
yeah,
he doesn't need to worry about me. And I'm just make a life like from wherever I start with my ability. So now we just feel our relationship is stronger. And also we started talking about money and finance and stuff just early on. That way we don't feel awkward when we
Yeah,
had to get to that topic. Yeah, I
yeah.
love that. That's definitely is necessary education that all the young people, all the people who are going to get into a relationship or marriage. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you brought that up. And I love that you're the type of person who wants to share your experience and your knowledge with other people so that they can learn. Prenuptial agreements are becoming more and more common.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's the man who brings it up, sometimes it's the woman who brings it up. But always, when you look at those numbers, it's helpful to know what are you bringing to the relationship? What are your expectations? Whether you have that formal legal agreement or not. And in the chances that the relationship doesn't work out, this
Yeah.
prenuptial agreement helps a more amicable and fair outcome as well. So it can be a really powerful part of someone's financial plan. And it's always worth considering whether or not you decide that it's for you and your partner.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's just a peace of mind. It's just so
Absolutely.
important. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not how rich you are going to be monetarily to feel successful. Actually, the freedom is something is priceless, at least to me,
Yeah.
priceless. I don't want people to feel like because yeah. Another personal question is not a question. Information about me is my husband is a lot older than me, so many people just naturally assumed I'm just for his money or for security. But it's better. I feel it's better to be written in a story as for love, for passion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and for safety is fine too. Yeah, that's part of
of course, I
the
think
reason for
most
many people.
people,
Yeah,
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 enter into a relationship for
yeah,
safety and security. It's one
yeah,
of the main benefits of being in a relationship,
yeah,
right? But I like that you recognized what some of the biases might be, even within your relationship, and spoke openly to them so that you can make sure that your relationship was grounded in love and a future together. That's really beautiful.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. That's
Yeah,
true. It's better to put the white elephant out there to talk
yeah,
about it, and then that's it. Yeah,
yeah.
no
And then
more
everyone knows.
conversation. Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing that experience and to tell us how important it is to have the financial foundational education in our daily life. And then coming back again, I remember you also not only gave a TEDx talk, found a speech that you have online. It's called Let It Go. And I loved that message and I loved your speech. And I just found out actually you at least you were a Toastmaster. So that
Yeah.
is another layer of connection that we have.
Yeah, Toastmasters International, if your viewers haven't heard of it, it's a really great organization that helps people with their public speaking skills. And it has a nice, organized approach to make anyone a good speaker. I was an unusual participant because I was already a public speaker when I joined, but I found when you're so used to speaking, listening becomes harder because you see it as your role as to be the person talking. So I think one of the sneaky secret benefits of Toastmasters is that it allows you the chance to also practice your listening skills, your awareness skills. And after years and years of being in Toastmasters, I finally decided to attempt one of their global competitions. It's a really big deal, right? Being a speaker and being one of the top speakers in the world are two very different things. And I was honored to come in second in country, which was a pretty big deal with that speech. And it was a message just like the I do conversation with TEDx. The let go to me is really just something I had in my heart and I wanted to share with the world. And it's something that's always a work in progress, just like all of us as humans. And the idea is oftentimes the things that are holding you back aren't the physical things around you, but obstacles in your own mind. That is the thing that you actually have the most control of. And if you can let go, it is incredible what you can achieve.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that message is very important. And
Yeah,
let go. And it's the same apply to the financial conversations. Probably,
absolutely.
yeah, you would like people to decide what you want to keep, what you want to let go. I think
Absolutely. Physically and
that's very,
mentally. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's very, yeah, it goes hand in hand. It's the mindset and also the actual reality that how we can handle it, balance it out. It's letting go is just such a great behavior and habit to have. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, like I was saying before, I think good financial planning and financial advice is a lot more than just investments. You have to understand people. You have to be able to speak to the root cause of a problem or work towards the actual goal that someone's working towards and not just what they might be looking for on the
yeah,
surface level. And that often requires letting go of a belief. I couldn't live without this. I couldn't get a job that makes more money. I couldn't retire early, right? There's always these things we have in your head, like that's not for me.
yeah.
Sometimes they're true, but it is always worth questioning and saying, is that true? Is there another way to look at it? And it's really powerful when you take that approach to financial advice.
Yeah. Yeah, we did talk about this mindset. So actually, in your opinion, what key mindset shift do you encourage when it comes to managing money?
Yeah. So the first thing is believing that whatever you want is possible and that you are worthy of it.
Mm, that's
It's hard.
yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And if you don't mind, elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people, when it comes to their finances, the short-term indulgences are often our way of satiating a fear that we can't have the bigger things that we want. So we cling on to the little things that we know we can have. For example, you might see people going on big trips and saying, "Oh, I would love to do that, but I could never do that." And then you might impulse buy something online without realizing that that happens often, and without those impulse purchases that might be wants in the short term but might not contribute to that bigger goal that you want, are actually the real thing in the way of having that bigger vacation or that house or that early retirement, fill in the blank. Quite often it's the little wants, the quick satiations of needs in the short term that are actually holding us back from what we're doing and what we want in the long term.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. Sometimes just a change of behavior, and you also look at what you focused on. If you truly set your mind to do that, it's so different.
Absolutely.
It also reminds me of my husband. One thing I love about him is he is very, how to say, practical in a way, like because he has finance background, and so sometimes
So helpful.
it's different from I may make some choice, didn't think too much, but he usually thinks before making decisions. Sometimes he may compare a few dollars in a
Yeah,
grocery store, but he doesn't mind to buy several thousand of TV or have a vacation that feel just
yeah,
comfortable and free. So it's the small habits help us to
absolutely.
accumulate wealth sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's recognizing of these goals, which ones are truly important, right? Which ones do I want more than
yeah.
others? What's really important to me?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Though, so again, we have a very tiny house, but then my husband said, I liked his idea. In the beginning, actually, we have different opinions. I feel like I need a big house to have bigger closet.
Yeah. All women
And
like big, well, I
yeah,
shouldn't say all. A
and
lot
then
of people like
yeah,
big closets.
yeah, yeah. Even if you have a bigger closet, probably it will be filled in eventually. So it's not about the size, it's about how we really enjoy what we have.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
finding happiness wherever you're at is really valuable. And also
Hmm.
recognizing, like, kind of going into, well, what do I really want? Like, what does it mean to have that bigger closet? Would I actually be happy if I had that
Yes.
bigger closet? Is that what's holding me back? Being
Yeah.
thoughtful about what you want and what you really want can be helpful, either forward thinking or in retrospect. I encourage all of my clients to say, okay, if we're excited about a purchase, let's write down what we're feeling beforehand and let's reflect on it a month later if we still feel the same. And that can help inform your own decisions about what's important to you. And if we really were happy with that decision, or if in the future we might want to make a different one. There's no right answers. There's no like guidebook to life. There's simply living in alignment with what's important to you.
Yeah, that's true. It again reminds me of another experiment I did in 2019. You mentioned
Mm,
about your speech was
yeah.
2019, and I had experiment to not buy any clothing or shoes or any of these personal kind of items a whole year. And I did
Wow.
it. And I did it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, because yeah, my closet was stuffed, and obviously we're not going to change the house.
Right.
Especially my daughter is still in the area. So I just wanted to test it out, and I thought that is possible. And
Yeah.
it's definitely, it's not something uh, that can change our life so dramatically, but
Yeah.
it is something that can help us to know what we can actually save, what we can invest,
What's
and
possible. Yeah.
what we can focus on. If I don't focus on buying clothes, actually I save a lot more money and also time. Uh, and at the same time, just have the resources are more uh, effectively used. Yeah,
Absolutely. So
yeah.
how did it feel? Did you think you could at the very beginning? Did you think it was possible that you could not buy
Yes,
any new clothes for a year?
I thought it's possible. That's why I wanted to give it a try, but I knew it could be hard
Yeah.
because
And was
what
it
I
hard?
happened.
Like, did you occasionally like have that urge?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. Occasionally have that.
how did you respond to that urge to go shopping when you knew in the long term you were trying not to?
Because I set a goal.
Yeah.
To me, is to me, like if I set a goal, I had a promise, especially the New Year resolution. So I wrote it and I put it on the wall. So that keeps me
Focused.
reminded,
Yeah.
reminded. And also I have to be someone who is reliable and hold integrity in high ground. Like I needed to show that to my daughter. I- And
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, and actually it just proved that I have this grit to do whatever I set my mind to do.
Yeah, so at the end, it felt really empowering, right? That you were
Yeah,
able to
but
do that
really,
and you
yeah,
saved money as a byproduct. But the first part was that you felt in control, right?
yeah, I felt in control. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
And you got to be a good role model for your daughter, which I love. Did you tell her about your challenge and what you were doing and why?
Then she was little. I don't even remember
Okay.
if she remember, but I will share it with her one day.
Yeah,
However, this is the mindset I want her to have. So I constantly demonstrate, including my 500 days vlogs, including our podcast today, including Toastmasters meetings and language learning, and also my work. Just I always constantly showing up the full self so we don't regret. At least we need to trust we need to live to our promise.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
something, yeah. And
Fulfill
also
your
believe
full
that we can,
potential.
yes, yes. And we need to believe that we can do more and better. We can
Yes,
be
that is
better
the
versions of
beginning, right? You
ourselves.
need to believe that you can and that you deserve it.
Yes, yes. So thank
Yeah.
you
And
so much for
oh,
reminding me all this great mindset.
yeah. And I love that you mentioned, how you want to share it with your daughter. A lot of people ask me, how do I teach my kids about finance? How do I teach my kids about money? And really, it's no different than anything else. How do you teach your kids about cleaning up around the house? How do you teach your kids about developing a love of learning? The best thing you can do is role model because your kids look up to you and they're going to copy whatever you do. They are adorable little sponges. So if you're showing that discipline and control and spending, you're showing them the way to do that too. If you're showing them how you stay organized and in control of the household and of your finances, they're going to learn those skills too. And that's so much better than just giving them money because you're giving them an approach to having their own control in their lives too. So I love that you want to include your daughter in that. I hope that for all parents.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. A mindset is something priceless, and you don't lose. And
Absolutely.
and I always tell my daughter, the world can change, and you can lose everything. You, including me and my husband. And
Right.
what can she do? The only thing you can carry with you is your mindset, is
Yes,
your
it's
healthy
beautiful.
body. Yeah. So yeah, mindset is just so important.
It
Thank you
is.
so much again
Oh,
for
my
this
pleasure.
topic. And so come back to the reality and the practical thing. Could you share some simple must-take steps for managing personal finances in everyday language, especially for someone with no finance background, like a
Yeah.
recent graduate?
Yeah, so you don't need a finance background to be good at finances. So I hope everyone hears that and really takes it to heart because it's really important. A lot of people suffer from that imposter syndrome, that feeling that I don't know, other people know more than me, I couldn't possibly. When you think about personal finance, it's simple arithmetic. Like it is grade school mathematics of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. It's not very hard, really. When it comes down to it, you don't need algebra or trigonometry or geometry. Like you need the simple math that you already learned that you can do to know personal finance. But what you need more than that, and to me, this is the real hard part, is a connection to your money and an awareness of where your money is going. I think as we approach finances today and we think about how it's changed in our generation, from our parents' generation, from our grandparents' generation, we no longer receive a paycheck from our employer or money directly ever, right? It's all virtual. And when we go to pay, people are using cash less and less. So when you swipe a credit card versus counting out each bill, it's harder and harder to feel a connection between how hard you had to work for that money and how much it's truly costing you for that expense. And you add to that the advent of subscriptions, where it's just an automatic bill every single month, something our grandparents never had. And you can see how the system is set up to be convenient and easy and comfortable in this beautiful modern world we have, but how that distances us from our money and can distance us from that reflection on, am I spending my money in the ways that I want to in the long term? Is each decision getting me closer to my bigger goals, or is it getting me further away? So to me, like one thing each person can do is take a moment to reflect, right? Do I have a system in place that allows me to be really intentional about my money to make sure that my money's going where I want it to go and that it's not being whisked away by someone else and their goals? Because a lot of people are very interested in your money. They
Yeah.
have goals too, and everyone's goals require money.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So knowing the goal is, yeah, most important. But what they need to do, I mean, for the everyday
Yeah.
people, that means like they need to start saving, for example, contributing to 401k, or have a buy a CD, or
Yeah.
how they do this, like step by
Yeah.
step.
Yeah. So having a goal and having a system are the only things that are going to be the same for everyone, right? Beyond that, that's where personal finance gets personal.
Mm.
If you have access to a 401k and you want to retire, that's a great account, right? If you don't have access to a 401k, IRAs are individual retirement accounts and they allow you to save independently, right? These are great accounts for retirement specifically because they have tax benefits to them. And to me, the perk is they have restrictions that will keep us from using that money sooner to make sure we do preserve that money for the long term because we'll always have that impulse that a dollar today is always better than a dollar tomorrow, even if it's $1.25 tomorrow, right? We're always going to have that very human instinct that now and our current needs are more important than our future needs, but our future needs are equally important. So I like accounts that have some restrictions because they help us stay the course of a big goal because not everyone has the single-mindedness focus that you had to say, I am not going to buy for a year, so that's what's going to happen. It's really hard to have that kind of discipline that makes you unique and amazing. For people who struggle with that, having a better system, having the right accounts that will support your goal can be really helpful. But yeah, savings accounts are usually a part of everyone's goals because you want to save up for a vacation. You have to save up for the things that you can't expect. I was talking to a client this morning and she had a surprise $6,000 vet bill for her cat. Right, that's a
Wow.
lot of money, and anyone who's a pet owner will totally understand. Anyone who isn't will think, wow, that's a lot of money for a pet, but everyone has that thing, right? That's really important to them. Either that opportunity to take a trip with friends or a bill for someone they care about. So you need to have savings, but how much and where, all of that is going to differ depending on what your goal is and what system works best for you. So even though it might seem a little bit unclear or nebulous,
Yeah.
having that understanding of what you want and a system is definitely the place where everyone has to start. And then the individual prescriptions of how much, where, when, and what investments is going to be personal, right? If anyone is saying everyone should do this, you might want to use some caution because everyone will take a different path when it comes to personal finance because different goals require different tools.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Even though the majority of us probably have the similar goals, is to feel safe, like they have the safety, have the security,
Yeah.
and have a early retirement, have the freedom. I think, yeah, some people want to feel successful, but to some people just feel free
Yeah.
is the end goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
There's a
yeah,
lot of
that's
different
true.
goals. Some people I talk to want to retire early. Some people want to work as long as possible.
Yeah.
And we prepare for that and the alternative. What happens if you don't have enough and you need to work longer? What happens if you want to work longer, but you're unable to? Right?
Mhm.
Oftentimes, financial advice is knowing what people want and helping them plan for it, and then also having a contingency, a backup plan for if that doesn't happen, so that no matter what, things turn out okay.
Yeah, that's true. Well, for our audience members, if you want personal financial advice and reach, I don't know if they can reach out to you because this is kind of a paid service. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so
And
right now in my current role, we focus on working with businesses, which I really like because any employer who is listening can provide this service to their employees because financial advice is expensive. So the people who need it most can't often afford it, right? So there are different companies, like the one I work for now, that will work directly with companies to make that a benefit. In my previous role, I would help people individually. I think that's always important to be able to help individuals who do want to select it, but it's great when a company will provide it.
Yeah, that's true. That's great benefit. And not many people are good at doing other things, may not be good at finance. Actually,
Absolutely. It is
I'm
a separate
included.
skill.
I'm included. Yeah, it definitely takes practice. Yeah, to
Yeah.
get good at it. It's like any other things.
It is a specialized mindset. I tell any of my clients, if this was your career and your main focus for the last 20 years, you'd be just as good at this, right? Anything that you learn and practice, you can become good at. But every part of life really does have its own experts. I work a lot with doctors and accountants, and you would think, oh, these people are so smart, they can absolutely understand finance, and they could if they put their focus on it, but they're focused on other things. So having someone who has a knowledge and an expertise in an area that they don't is an invaluable partner in their long-term planning. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So, in your experience, how do emotions and relationships impact finance decisions?
Yeah, that is the biggest factor impacting financial decisions. So I love that you asked. I've yet to meet someone who made a decision purely financially, right? Emotions impact every part of our
Yeah,
life, from concern to fear to hope to optimism. I think the easiest way that most people can really recognize how strong this can be is the very real life example that most of us have faced of going to the grocery store, hungry or not hungry, right?
mm,
If you go to the grocery store and you're hungry, you're going to buy more. Absolutely. It's been proven time after time. Even though you know that you will get food and that you have food, there's this very human, very base need when you're hungry to get food, and you will get more than you need. But that goes for all things, right? If you're sad, if you're frustrated, if you're worried, if you are overly optimistic, that's going to factor in too, right? So having someone who can be distant from it, because you don't have emotions when it's not as many emotions, when it's not your situation, right? Just like when we reach out to our friends when we need help, they give us that distance, that perspective. Financial advisors do that with a financial lens, right? We give that perspective saying, yeah, this is why we have this. Have you considered that? One of my clients is going through remodeling, and we were talking about it, and she said, I've never had someone where I could bounce ideas off of like this and think about the pros and cons and develop a strategic approach to what I want to do. And this is so valuable, right? A lot of people think financial advisors just manage investments, and some do, but some will take that extra time to be real holistic, because all decisions are connected and all decisions are emotional.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, without the relationship, probably, I mean, even the relationship with yourself is a relationship, and
Absolutely.
how you live your life and all that is very important. Um, Including the emotions and relationships in the decision-making process, it's, it's definitely helpful.
Absolutely.
So, looking ahead, what excites you most about the future of financial education? Because a
Mhm.
lot of that you are doing that inspire inspired me is the financial education you are giving.
Thank you. What makes me most excited for the future is seeing how many people are seeing the value in this and how the culture is changing. I'm sure you grew up this way too. We had this belief that it was rude to talk about money. And because of it, so many people were very poorly prepared for handling money. And I'm seeing that change. I'm seeing people feel more comfortable talking about money and sharing what their experiences are and what worked well for them and what didn't. And I think that's a really great way to help the people around you and to help your children be better off is to have appropriate and polite conversations about money. I think that's what excites me most because anything we talk about, we can learn about, we can share, we can grow. That's why I love doing things like this because it starts a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. We apply that to the parenting part with my daughter. My daughter is 16. Sometimes, like, she wants to going out with her friends. Like, she needs to pay because she makes some money for cutting grass. So we kind of give her the idea about working about financial education, about basic daily expenses, and
Yeah,
she needs to have that in mind. Yeah.
that is a great practice. If
In our household, one thing we love about is we are very transparent. We are
yeah,
very honest. And even if we have arguments, we talk about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's smart. Everyone is going to disagree at some point.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of the things like I buy, my husband may not agree, or he buys something I may not agree. So we have some kind of agreement, or we have different accounts. Like if I buy something from this account, you have no no right to say anything. If I
Yeah.
buy something from this account, we have to talk about it. So have this conversation in like early on would
Mhm.
avoid a lot of arguments,
Absolutely.
especially with us. We have a total different backgrounds and we have total different personalities and preferences. For sure, we have different opinions.
Right.
Yeah, so have this conversation openly
It's
and
helpful.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's very helpful. Yes. Yeah.
I love that. It's always interesting, right? Because like I was mentioning before, there isn't a right way. So
Yeah.
the things you buy are, of course, important to you, and it might not be important to other people, whether it's a partner or spouse or a parent or even a friend. They might say, "Oh, really? You wanted to do that?
Hmm.
Your money should be there to support you and your goals." Right.
Yeah.
And so I love that you have found that approach to say, this is what I can spend, and what I spend here is perfectly fine and up to me. And here's what you can spend, because it's quite natural that
Yeah.
you and someone else will have a different goal and a different approach. And you should have the freedom to do what's important to you.
Yeah. That's true. So when we are approaching the end of our conversation, I would like to ask the common question I always ask. What does being a light mean to you?
I love that. To me, it's bringing a positive, compassionate approach to everything I do, whether it's work, whether it's time with friends and family. To me, being a light is really important, especially now as we rely more and more on technology. I think bringing that humanity is really important. Listening to others, trying to help them through difficult situations, being there for them, being positive and not in a fake or a saccharine way, but in a way where you are sincere and looking for the silver linings and things and helping people have a balanced outlook, which is sometimes offsetting the negative that will take the foreground in every situation because it's what's allowed us to survive. But hope is what will allow us to thrive.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. I loved your interpretation and the focus on the humanity and the human connection. That's what I value the most actually about the relationship, and especially with technology and AI can replace so many of the things. One thing it can replace is the human connection, this sincere support and care and love.
Yeah, because human connection is bilateral, right? It goes
Yeah.
both ways,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
You hear more and more about the new technologies being able to show they care, but they're not actually there. It's not a true relationship where you're building a connection with someone and you're there for them and they're there for you. So
Yes.
I think it's really important to keep investing in each other and supporting each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for
You're very welcome.
investing in me and for betting
Likewise.
on me. Yeah. Thank you so much for your support over the years. Yeah.
Yeah, you are a light, so it is a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. Do you have any other parting words?
It's a good question. For me, what's most important is that people find their path to balance and happiness, right? Recognizing the combination of the two. It's easy to be happy in the short term, but make sure that what you're doing is in balance so that you can be happy throughout your life because you deserve it.
Thank you so much. Finding
Sure.
the balance
Yes.
and looking forward for the future and also enjoy the life today. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for sharing
You're
your
welcome.
wisdom and knowledge and your inspiration with me and with our audience members.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
If you like this episode, please share, like, and comment. And also reach out to Jennifer, connect with her. I will leave her LinkedIn. Yeah,
LinkedIn's a great way to
contact
find me.
info. Yeah, LinkedIn. Okay. Just reach out to her. Remember, everyone has the ability to be a light to others. So be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Again, thank you for listening or watching. And thank you, Jennifer, again for being on this podcast.
Thank you, and thanks
Thank you.
everyone. Have a great day.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.